What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. Is it Friday night already? What the hell is happening? What the hell is going on? It's crazy. It's Friday night, Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. So I got a dog. That's why I'm late. I really take pains to not be late, but this time it was like last minute thing, just last minute. Do we want a dog or not? So we said, yeah. And well, it didn't work out too bad. I'm only 25 minutes later than I normally would be, but now I got a dog. So it's me, but I got a dog. It's me, Princess Baloney, but we got a dog now. And it's pretty much Princess Baloney's fault. Problem is, like, I think to myself, I don't really need a dog. You know, I've had dogs. I don't really need a dog. But then she shows me the pictures, and I'm just like, yeah, just get them right now. Can't help it. I guess I'm soft-hearted like that. I don't know. Anyway, I got a dog for whatever it's worth. I got a dog now. And it didn't really take much to convince me, to be honest. Radio Doggy or Doggy Baloney, Rosie asks. I think it's Doggy Baloney. I think maybe it's Baloney Ruffs. Ruffs mix Baloney. Ruffs mix Baloney. Radio Rough Radio. I don't know, something like that. Maybe I'll do a contest in the chat for the best name. But he's already got a name. That's the thing. And because it's a year old, so it's an adopted dog, right? And somebody just couldn't keep him. There was problems, couldn't keep him. So he's already got a name, so I don't want to confuse him. You know, I didn't want to cause him, you know, some sort of like psychological rough baloney. I don't want to cause him some sort of psychological issues. Next thing you know, Trudeau's got a hold of him, and it's puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. No, I think we'll just keep his name as it is. Keep his name as it is. Ghetto Monkey says, Barky Baloney. So who we got in here? Oh, well, before we go, hold on. What do we got here? Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Vince Lady. All right. While we're checking out, while we do roll call, let's see. So we got Izzy in the chat. Good to see ya. We got Rumbum in the chat. We got Rosie in the chat. We got Candle Mikey in the chat. Who else we got in here? That's it. But they've been busy. Holy man, they were chatting up a storm before I went live. Holy macaroni. All right. Let's see. Rosie's saying congrats on the dog. You're welcome. Let's see. Rosie says late starts are harder here in Eastern time zone too. Sorry, I know. I apologize. It was just a last minute thing. It's like you got to get the dog or not get the dog. It's like, well, I guess we got to get the dog now. We got to get him tonight. So just get him. So, but I won't be. Izzy says or beer lady. Well, where is the beer lady? Here she is. There we go. There's the beer lady. Oh, hold on. There's the beer lady. There she is. All right. What have you guys been talking? All right. You know, before we get into the chat, let's just go through. We got a lot of stuff on the plate tonight. Let's go through the menu. So we're going to talk about Daniel Penny and the trial and what's happening there in this just total miscarriage of justice so far. But it's up in the air. Still, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. We got New York Times is coming after Rumble. So the mainstream media hates Rumble. They hate anything that's free speech oriented because they're not about free speech. You know, a democracy dies in darkness. Or all the news that's fit to print, unless they don't like it, unless it's not, you know, unless it's not, you know, ideologically in line with them, then not so much. Right. But, you know, it's funny. Washington Post, not very long ago, just October 26th, did a hit piece on Rumble as well. And Chris Pavlovsky, the CEO of Rumble. I mean, it's all coordinated. It's all so obvious, you know. What do we got here? A little bit of Pete Hegseth. We're just going to talk about just him having the perfect response to the media, who is just going to freak out no matter who. Trump could nominate Obama to be in his cabinet, and they'll attack him. Let's see. What do we got here? This is just, we're getting to the We're getting to the logical conclusions of leftism here in the West. UK government has announced plans to offer cash incentives to the relatives of elderly citizens who opt to be euthanized. Cash for death. Die early, get paid. So we're just reaching, the logical end game of leftism in the Western world, and it's terrifying. What do we got here? Oh, they're coming for more guns. They don't even know what they're talking about. They're coming for assault style weapons. They don't even know what that is. They're just taking rifles away from farmers, right? There's a rise in gun crime in Canada, not from legal gun owners, not from farmers, but they're leftists. So this is all they can think of. Let's see. We've got some Trump derangement. We always like to have a bit of Trump derangement on the show. I mean, they're always so healthy seeming as well, psychologically and physically. Really impressive. What do we got here? We got a bit of Trudeau being super unpopular. Let's see. We've got Stephen Miller outlining Trump's first 100 days. And apparently it sounds quite epic. So we're going to watch that. What have we got here? We've got the Supreme Court, the gender affirming care for minors case. It's in the Supreme Court now. We're going to take a look at that. There's lots of stuff on that. You got some Pierre Poilievre. I know we always enjoyed that. We have got we've got some new news on Bill C-63. That's the insane dystopian censorship law that Trudeau is trying to put Canada under the boot of. They're splitting into a couple of different parts now, which it should have. Well, most of it shouldn't exist, but the part that nobody cares about is being split off. But it's not going to be the end here. Israel Levant is telling us about it. Trudeau absolutely has every intention of getting through his dystopian censorship bill before he leaves office, 100%. We'll talk about what's in Bill C-63. Just a little quick refresher. I've done lots of videos on that, so I think you guys are probably up to date. But anyway, we'll do a quick refresher for anybody who doesn't know. We were talking about the Smith-Munt Modernization Act, I think on Tuesday. And I can't remember who brought it up, but I thought it was worth it to do a little more research on it. So we're going to look at this. This is the act that made it legal for the U.S. government to propagandize its own citizens. So I thought we'd take a little bit of a look at that, and we've got some info on that, and that was worth it. I'm glad you guys brought it up in the chat because I'm glad I know more about it now. 1 second, I just need to check something quickly. Okay, everything's looking good. All right. So, yeah, we're going to talk about Daniel Penny. We're going to talk about a little bit on the CEO who was assassinated. Looks like it was obviously a hit, some sort of hit. Looks like probably professional, although maybe not. But the comment section at CNN is revealing as to the kinds of audience that they have nurtured. And it's disturbing. Katie Hopkins, she's always great. She's always good at destroying the libtards with facts and reason. And a little bit of mockery as well. Chicago, they're not happy about the illegal immigration there and how much money they're getting. They're talking about that. We've got lots of stuff. We got some memes. We got those crazy masks. We got some bit of Joe Rogan, some Scott Jennings. Of course, we got that. We, of course, have... Where is it? Of course, we have Grok versus Trudeau. Although, where the hell is it? Here it is. We got a Grok versus Trudeau we'll be doing tonight. Though this is not it, though. Where the hell is it? Oh, this must be it here. Here we go. We got a Grok versus Trudeau. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's a Christmas-themed one. So that will be fun for everybody. All right. Let's get to the chat for a minute. Let's see. Let's go back a little bit. Actually, we'll go back to Beer Lady while I'm taking a look at the chat. Barky Baloney. Izzy says, Ruff probably loves baloney. Oh, I'm sure he does. Sure he does. What am I doing getting another dog? Jesus. Crazy. Well, I'll get lots of walking. That's good. Rosie says, hope the dog came with a secret firearm. Nope. Let's see. Rosie says, all the applause for everyone is awesome. I know. That's why I do it, because it's fun. As he says, a hit piece on Rumble, let me guess. I'm a Nazi again. How did you know? Let's see. Let's see. Nevada's saying when he scrolled up, his comments were gone. Somebody's, yeah, you guys are saying the chat is weird tonight. It's been a bit glitchy the last couple of weeks, I think. Let's see. Izzy says, we all know prohibition works. Just look at the drug wars. I'm sure they'll get it right this time. So you're talking about the new gun bans in Canada. The problem is they're going after legal gun owners, people who've gone through the process, the lengthy process, who are not a danger to anybody. A lot of it's like farmers, for instance, right? They're hunting rifles. They don't know what an assault style rifle even is. Well, I mean, they just use these vague terms so they can just take away a hunting rifle, a farmer's hunting rifle. Although I am for going back to the war on drugs and then reassessing from there. What we've been doing in Canada, what they've been doing in places like San Francisco, total and utter disaster. So, I mean, what do you want? Do you want, I mean, if you're happy with an order of magnitude more deaths, and I'm not saying you, Izzy, but I'm saying the pro harm reduction, which is really life reduction. If you're happy with an order of magnitude more death, then I guess it's great, and just ramp it up from there. Clearly, I think we should go back to the thing that caused an order of magnitude less death and then reassess, because this super liberalized option, which I was always for, by the way. I was always for that. I always thought the war on drugs is stupid. Now I'm reassessing when I see the damage, just the destruction. When you go into the cities and you see just this desolation, zombie armies, people all over the streets. It's horrific. That's not empathy. That's not compassion. Anyway, I say stop doing the thing that's killing all these people and destroying all these families and all the attendant crime and everything else that comes along with it. Let's see. Rumbum saying his double karma comment is gone. I don't know what's going on, you guys. Although I will say that the first, like the chats that go into the chat before we go live they don't go onto the screen, but you guys, but that wouldn't matter. So I don't know what's going on with that. Maybe the ones that before I go live, maybe they all just disappear. But I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I don't know. Something's glitchy. Let's see. Izzy's asking, I think this is the Grok versus Trudeau. He's talking about, oh joy, does Santa find Trudeau a rocket trip to the sun? Well, there are three things that have to happen in every Grok poem about Trudeau. He has to do blackface, he has to get a vaginoplasty, and he has to be loaded into a giant cannon and shot into the sun by popular demand. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. Rosie says, glad you will be showing what true Jaina always gets an applause in the chat. Walked out of. I do not have time to read that one. Yeah, we're not going to spend a ton of time on that. It's just it's symbolic of, how deeply unpopular Trudeau is. Nobody likes him, and he just won't goddamn well go away. Rumbum says, oh, that sweet fence level sexy double karma is mine tonight. So you got the first like, so you got the double karma, double good karma. Good for you, sir. Streamer says, what's the pup's name? It's Geo. All right. Well, there we are. I think we're pretty much caught up now. Seems like we got a lot of the regular chats in there now. So let's get started. Maybe a sip of rant juice first, though. Although for the purposes of the stream, we might just call him Rough Radio. Like RUFF Radio. All right. So Daniel Penny manslaughter charge dismissed as jury breaks for the weekend. Judge grants prosecution's motion to dismiss top charge, allows jurors to deliberate on criminally negligent homicide. And this is being considered a trick, bending the rules by the prosecution and by the judge as well, because typically what would happen is that they would just dismiss the case outright. But this is seen as a way to try and squeeze something, some punishment for this innocent man, to send the message that in New York City, do not help. Do not try and help. Do not try and help your neighbors. Do not try and help other people on a subway with you. Just whatever is going to happen to them, just let it happen. Because otherwise, you are going to get persecuted. And it's very typical. When you let your cities be taken over by communists, and then, I mean, I'm not even joking. I'm not being hyperbolic, like actual communists, and then let them indoctrinate the population into far leftist ideas. This is the kind of dystopian nightmare you get. Jurors on the Daniel Penny chokehold trial returned to deliberations for a fourth Friday, just an hour before telling the court they could not come to an agreement on the top charge, manslaughter, as they weighed the fate of a 26-year-old Marine veteran, an architecture student accused of killing a mentally ill homeless man who threatened to kill people on a Manhattan subway car. Now, that's where the story should begin and end. Threatened to kill people on a Manhattan subway car. When you're out in public, and regardless of what has happened to you, regardless of what drugs you've taken, if you're threatening to kill people, whatever happens next is kind of on you. And I wanted to show you something. Some important context. So here is a list of serious crimes and assaults against New York City subway passengers in the months preceding the Daniel Penny incident. So this is the news that people were seeing. It was in May, the Daniel Penny incident. Here's March. A 27-year-old man was slashed across the face after a verbal dispute at the Union Square subway station. A 29-year-old man was slashed on the side of the neck with a knife at the Queens Plaza subway station. A 64-year-old man was assaulted when he was kicked from behind, causing him to fall onto the tracks at Penn Station. A subway conductor was slashed in the neck at the Rockaway Ave station, leading to increased security measures and public concern over subway safety. A 60-year-old passenger was stabbed on the 3 line in Brooklyn. That's just March. That's just March. February, crime in the transit system, although slightly down year over year, still saw a 23, suggesting ongoing issues with safety. A tourist from Brazil was stabbed in the neck at Queens Plaza subway station. A 59-year-old subway conductor was slashed in the neck, receiving 34 stitches, indicating a rise in attacks against subway personnel. A man was killed after intervening in an altercation on a subway train in Brooklyn. So these are the things that were in New Yorkers, people riding the subway, in their minds. If they're paying any attention at all to the news, this is what's in their heads. This is the stuff that would have been in Daniel Penny's head, right? You're thinking bad things. You know that bad things happen to innocent people, right? So a good man steps in and does something about it, right? He wasn't trying to kill. He's not charged with murder. They charged him with manslaughter. It was 2 different charges. So there's negligent, what was it? Negligent homicide. Around 11 a.m., the jurors sent a note to the court stating, "We, the jury, request instructions from Judge Maxwell Wiley. At this time, we are unable to come to unanimous vote on count 1, manslaughter in the second degree." The judge sent them back to deliberate more, but they told the court shortly after 3 p.m. that they could still not reach a unanimous decision. So there's, at least one person didn't want to put him away. Who knows what the difference was? The charge requires prosecutors to prove that Penny acted with recklessness when he grabbed Jordan Neely in a chokehold. Neely had barged onto the train while high on drugs, threatening to kill passengers during a psychotic episode, according to trial testimony. And this is apparently what the modern left wants. They want people high on drugs, mentally ill, just causing havoc, causing chaos, and they don't want anybody to be able to do anything to protect the people around them. This is what they want. Is this what people are voting for? Is this what people are thinking when they vote? I mean, there's at least some of the jury seems to agree with that sentiment. The judge initially ruled out that the jury could not deliberate on the second charge unless they found Penny not guilty of manslaughter by some reason other than that the chokehold was justified. However, after jurors said they were deadlocked a second time, Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Daphne Yoren asked to have the top charge dismissed to allow the jury to debate the lesser charge of criminally negligent homicide, which carries a maximum punishment of 4 years in prison. So they desperately want to put him away for some time. The judge agreed and sent the jury home for the day. They will resume deliberations Monday only on the second charge. Allen charges. So Wiley earlier gave the jurors Allen charge instructions after giving the attorneys time to review, but they failed to reach a consensus. Allen charges refer to jury instructions given to a hung jury, urging them to agree on a verdict. They have a controversial history, with critics warning that they can push jurors to change their views under peer pressure. They get their name from an 1896 Supreme Court decision, Allen versus the United States. So essentially, trying to pressure, just do it, which could put them under pressure from the other jurors, right? Wiley told the jurors that their vote must be unanimous, and if they cannot reach a unanimous verdict on the top charge, a new trial will have to be set with a new jury. All right, hold on. Quote, "A deadlocked jury on the top charge is not a victory for the defendant in a case that should never have been brought to begin with," said Paul Morrow, a former NYPD inspector. Quote, "Daniel Penny is a young man spending thousands on attorneys. He faces a civil case, and a district attorney's office that has chosen ideology over law enforcement may well retry him if we get a mistrial. His liberty remains at risk. This is not justice." Yeah, I guess get out of blue cities. Unless you just, well, apparently your one option is just to be a victim. So if you're in a blue city, they like the criminals, they like mentally ill drug addicts terrorizing the population. Clearly, that's what they like. Clearly, they're just proving it, right? So I guess you just have to make the choice to just be a victim. Say, I'm just going to be a victim. Maybe if I do the right thing once, maybe I'll get off after losing my life savings, being massively in debt, after going through the torture of the process. Neely was a 30-year-old with schizophrenia who told strap hangers that someone was going to die today and that he didn't care about going to prison for life. Penny grabbed him from behind in a chokehold to stop the outburst. Nobody's suggesting that he was intentionally trying to kill. to kill Neely. Nobody's even suggested that. Neely later died. He had an active arrest warrant at the time. He was high on K2, a synthetic marijuana drug that functions as a stimulant, and his lengthy criminal record included a 2021 assault on a 67-year-old woman at another subway station. Now, Daniel Penny wouldn't have known that, but I just feel like the whole someone's going to die tonight thing is enough to restrain somebody. Penny remained at the scene and spoke with responding officers. He also agreed to speak with New York Police Department detectives at the 5th Precinct building. Quote, he said he was talking gibberish, not Daniel Penny, Neely. He was talking gibberish, but these guys are pushing people in front of trains and stuff, he told investigators. There were more than 20 subway shoves in the year before Penny's encounter with Neely. And I've already gone through the things that happened right before this incident. All of the terrible things that were happening to people on the subways. These all would have gotten reported in the news. This is something they all would have known. Just 3 days earlier, a subway rider had been stabbed with an ice pick on a J train. It was about a month after a PBS reporter got sucker punched on number 4 train. There was a shove a week before that, and the victim hit the side of a moving R train and survived. In that climate of fear, witnesses said they were terrified by Neely, who shouted death threats at them. Witness Yvette Rosario, a 19-year-old student, testified that Neely shouted someone would die that day. Penny faces a maximum punishment of 15 years in prison if convicted on the more serious charge. So the message is clear. Whatever happens here, the message is clear. The criminals win. It's the criminal city. This is Gotham, right? It's Gotham. The criminals win. The criminals have the rights. So shout death threats. Nobody can do anything. Terrorize the population. Nobody can do anything. I mean, the message here is do not intervene. Do not intervene. Just wait. Just watch it. Maybe you can film it. I mean, there was a woman raped on a subway car in New York City, and nobody did anything. I mean, if you're in New York City, I guess the message is don't be a good guy. Just look the other way. This is how leftists break a society. This is how they create the chaos. This is how they create the chaos that will eventually smash the foundations of a Western country, any Western country. Just demoralize the people to the point where they don't dare do the right thing ever. It's really terrifying. All right, what are you guys saying? Rumbum says, imagine fighting for your country, then coming home to a shit sandwich city. Then when you try and protect your fellow countrymen, you are treated like this because you're white. Well, race is a big part of it, right? Race is in New York City. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, there's a reason why you don't know who the other two guys are that were assisting them, because they're not white. That's why you don't know who they are. Nevada says, keep that dog far away from True China. Well, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to do that? Why would I want you guys know why? Put it in the chat. Why would I want to keep Geo away from True China? Put it in the chat. I just want to see if you guys have been paying attention. First one who gets the answer in the chat gets quintuple good karma. Quintuple good karma. Straight from Radio Baloney. And you know that shit is good. All right. Avada, I heard he'd been arrested 42 times, Neely. A lot of times. Rumbum has the correct answer. Forced sex changes for dogs. That's right. Trudeau was in favor Trudeau desperately wants to, he's certainly in favor. I think he's going to try and pass a law for sex changes for dogs, not just dogs, though, all pets. All pets. Nevada says puberty blockers. It's true, but Rumbum was first. He gets the quintuple good karma. Second place, that's Nevada, gets triple good karma. Rosie, what was the question? Why would I keep the new dog away from True Gina? All right. Let me go back a little bit. Izzy says the prosecutor is the one that belongs on trial. They're all like, is it a Soros prosecutor? Probably. Right? Like, it's just total corruption. This is like, when I see this stuff, when I see what's happening, like what they're trying to put and what they have been putting into the military, both in the United States and Canada. I know they're doing it in the UK as well. Like, this is what the Bolsheviks were doing. They would corrupt these institutions, intentionally try and weaken them. Talking about during the, the preceding the Russian Revolution, after the Russian Revolution, they intentionally would weaken the institutions. Military is really important. Let's see. But every institution. So, obviously they want corrupt judges. They want to corrupt the legal system, the judicial system, right? They want to corrupt all of it. They want them to be acting ideologically. And it appears that's what's happening. Nevada says Biden should pardon him. Yeah, Biden's not going to do that. He'll pardon Hunter for 11 years. Let's see, his crimes were 2016 to 2019, but he'll pardon him for just anything that might have happened from 2014 to 2024, 11-year period. Just anything that might have happened. I don't know, he didn't do anything. He probably didn't do anything, but just in case. Definitely just about Hunter. Definitely nothing about Joe Biden himself. Definitely not anything like that. Definitely not anything that might have happened when he was like vice president or anything like that. Definitely nothing to do with Burisma or Chinese bank. Nothing. No. It's just, there could be some. He might have like shoplifted a candy bar or something. Yeah, there's zero chance that Biden would pardon Daniel Penny. Zero. Trump would. And if Trump gets in, he will, I think. Radio Streamer says you give up your right to live when you take certain actions. This guy was an active threat. The thing is, Daniel Penny wasn't trying to kill him. It was an accident. There was also drugs involved, but none of this matters if it's in a blue city, a deep blue city like New York. In a liberal, a deeply, leftist city anywhere in the Western world, it doesn't seem to really matter. It's just ideological at that point. The oppressor narrative. You're the wrong color. That's just the way it goes. Yeah, personally, I feel like you get on a train and you say somebody's going to die tonight. You start threatening to kill people. Yeah, I mean, at that point, kind of, it's not a license to kill somebody, obviously, but if you have to be restrained, like I don't threaten to kill everybody when they're trapped in a subway car with you. Let's see. Rosie says the comments under any story about Daniel Penny has the most awful stories of people who had lost loved ones on the subway due to violence. That's surprising. By the way, Rosie, I've got some of your stuff for later on in the show that you sent over on X. That's coming up, but it'll be later on in the show. Let's see. Rumbum says, plus from what I heard, the crazy wasn't dead when the cops arrived. So what the hell is he being charged with? Well, Daniel Penny had no idea when he was talking to the police. Had no idea. Which shows you, obviously, he wasn't intending that outcome. Nevada says, got to get out of the blue commie cities. Yeah. unless you just want to be a victim. The says he was charged with manslaughter. Well, there were two charges, and one of them has been dismissed. And normally, from what I understand, normally, what would happen? In fact, we've got something in here. Hold on a second. I've got one more thing on that. Let's see. The manslaughter charge against Daniel Penny has been dismissed. This is from Colin Rugg. The jury is done for the day and will return on Monday. Let's see. Penny's lawyer opposed the motion by the prosecution. That was to have one of the counts dismissed. Quote, they said, this has never been done before. It would encourage prosecutors to overcharge in the grand jury with the option of withdrawing if hung or under coercion. So overcharging. So just piling on the charges so that hopefully one of them will stick, right? Just keep putting the screws to the jury, right? Just to try and get that conviction, which that's what they're trying to do here. They're saying this has never been done before, at least there, that they would dismiss one of the charges. Normally, that would just be it. It'd just be over, right? But you have to understand, these people are ideological, deeply political. So they're going to try and punish an innocent man, put an innocent man in prison. A guy who did the right thing. Let's see. Rumbum says, just wall them off like Raccoon City or Escape from New York. Well, there are some cities that you just think, will they ever learn? Right? Like San Francisco. I mean, they got like a slightly less extreme DA there. They recalled their insane far left communist Soros DA and put in a slightly less insane one. Nothing is improved there, apparently. But maybe there is a line. I always say everybody has a line where reality just has a better argument than wokeness or than their, just the fashionable politics that they've clung to. They just like the label, their friends or whatever, and they are just that. But then suddenly shit gets real, and then they wake up and say, okay, these are the people that aren't, the true believers. They're just people who don't pay a ton of attention to politics. They just know what's fashionable in their circle, and they just go with that. But they can still be reached. They can still be reached by the hand of reality. I go, now this is actually affecting my life in a really bad way. I'm going to change my mind. All right. Izzy says, not sure there was a lot of thinking involved in voting in Dem cities. Well, there's just a lot of indoctrination and just a lot of kind of team sports. Radio Streamer says they want a defeated, easily controlled people. That's all it's about. They don't want us apes without college education, stopping them from guiding us to their Marxist heaven. Yeah, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. As he says, yeah, sadly, I see Escape from New York becoming reality before I die. Rumbum says there was a black dude that stabbed a dude to protect others, and he had no bail amount set, and all charges dropped. It's so blatant. Yeah. The blue cities. Well, the mantra is that, the personal is political. Just everything is political once you go far left enough. And you've got these far left cities, and you can't be objective. They can't be objective. They see everything through the lens of their repression cult. Rumbum says, nope, it's just NPC tribalism. They like to rub it in our face. Izzy says, there's a reason the city is a shithole. All right, I'm going to skip. There's so much chat here. I'm just going to skip to the end here. Rosie says, everyone should send stuff to Richie on X. We all see random items that other might miss. RB is our filter and relayer. What is called in the radio streamer booster? Let's see. She says all charges against Penny should be dropped and he should be given a medal. Well, that's not how they want it in New York. They want you a victim, a perpetual victim. They want you to get used to it. All right. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? So from Chris Pavlovsky, who's the CEO and founder of Rumble, which we are on right now and which we love. So apparently, he's saying, apparently the New York Times is coming after Rumble. That's no big surprise. In the email correspondence below, it's because Rumble creators are warning people of the potential of nuclear war. I've warned you guys about that. This is even after Putin has spoken about the potential of nuclear war and a new nuclear doctrine. You know, this is tied into what we were talking about. We did a fact check because I didn't know much about it, but hold on. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, which allowed U.S. federal government to propagandize its own people. This was signed by Obama in 2012 and made legal in 2013. So that kind of relates to this and the New York Times and the Washington Post and the things you see in the mainstream media. So Jake Pentland, beware Rumble Video and all sane Americans. The New York Times is running another hit piece on real news organizations to cover up their blatant bullshit. My response in the second slide. You know, they should still be so ashamed of their work in the run-up to the Iraq war with the weapons of mass destruction and Judith Miller and all of that. They should be so ashamed of that. They shouldn't. It's amazing they have still to this day. They should be so ashamed of that. It should be unthinkable of them to accuse other people of fake news or propaganda. It should be unthinkable. It should be unthinkable for anybody to believe them, right? Like they have not earned their trust back. Let's see. What's this? All right. Regarding New York Times inquiry. Hi, Jake. I'm writing from the New York Times. We're working on a story about Rumble that briefly mentions the Roseanne Barr podcast that streams on the platform. I'm contacting you to let you know and also seek comment. The Roseanne Barr podcast. I mean, this is what the New York Times has come to. I like Roseanne Barr, by the way. But this is immediately you see, okay, this is just going to be propaganda hit job. This is just narrative control from the narrative controllers. The overall story is about the universe of content that exists on Rumble, its audience, and how the news opinion on Rumble contrasts with coverage from other news sources. To complete, I mean, do they mean the New York Times or the CIA or FBI or NSA or 10 other different three-letter agencies? It's hard to know. To complete the story, I deleted my other news sources and relied on Rumble for all my news for a week. Here is how the work is mentioned in the story. As a video that shows Jake and Roseanne advertising TWC Health with ad copy that says, "We are on the brink of nuclear war." I've read that ad myself, actually. And I'm happy to read it 1,000 more times. This clip is included in a portion of the story that talks about how many Rumble creators emphasized how nuclear war with Russia was more or less imminent and how sometimes those warnings turned into ads for products. I'm hoping the show would have a comment to share. about this or its work more broadly on Rumble. We are hoping to publish the story later this week. Is the New York Times aware that the United States is in a proxy war with Russia right now? Are they aware of the concept of the doctrine mutually assured destruction? Mad, right? It kind of is got two sides with enough nuclear weapons to just end civilization. Russia has enough to end civilization. Just them alone has enough. They're real. They really exist. 6,000 nuclear weapons. Now, some of those are tactical nukes. They're not all, city destroyers, but they got enough. They're real. They exist. Their purpose is many of them, to vaporize cities. And there's no defense shield. There's no Star Wars defense shield. There's nothing to stop them. They exist. And their purpose is to vaporize you. And if released to fulfill their purpose, and this is their purpose, they will vaporize you. They'll vaporize cities. That's real. So you've got a proxy war going on. You just have Biden aggravating the situation by allowing Ukraine to use American missiles inside of Russian territory, which is kind of a big deal. If you're saying that you're not at war with them, you kind of are at that point. Well, you kind of are right from the start. So I don't know. It seems reasonable to me to talk about this, to say, hey, maybe we shouldn't make this worse. There's all these weapons that can vaporize everybody. Maybe let's not aggravate the situation. Why take a step closer? You don't know what the unintended consequences of your actions are going to be. History, I've said this before, trademark Radio Baloney. History is the history of unintended consequences. You just have to wait long enough. Anyway, let's check out the next thing. So here's the reply. Are you covering the ad revenue between Pfizer and CNN in this article as well? I am asking because I'm curious if this article is actual objective news or the standard New York Times hit piece against people who cover the real news. Competitors of the New York Times, you might say. If it's actual news, then you are welcome. To quote me here, Biden's authorization of long-range missiles is widely believed to be an escalation in the Ukraine conflict, and Putin has floated the idea of nuclear war in response. This is all very true. You'd think the New York Times would know about this. Maybe they saw it and then they just ignored it for some reason. We want Americans safe and protected from this wildly corrupt administration, whether that's through education or highlighting specific products that can protect them. I think we're talking about Radio Guard Ace there. So this is a brilliant response to it. And it just exposes what a fraud the New York Times is now. Again, short memories. It's not that long ago that they were tricking the country into going to an insane war over fake weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist. But if you read the New York Times, they did. Funny how that worked out, huh? Let's see. So, not very long ago, when was this? October 26, 2024. Guess what? The Washington Post ran a hit piece. So what's that? That's not very long ago. That's just a little over a month ago. The Washington Post ran a hit piece on Chris Pavlovsky and Rumble. Isn't that funny? Let's see. In the months after Donald Trump was thrown off social media for inciting a mob assault on the Capitol, they just can't help themselves. They can't help right away, just in with the framing, with the deceptive framing. A little-known technology mogul moved decisively into the former president's circle, thrown off social media for inciting a mob assault. Democracy dies in darkness, apparently, according to the Washington Post. Thrown off social media for inciting a mob assault. Just lies. Just lies. He did the exact opposite. He said peacefully and patriotically, he told everybody to go home. It's the first paragraph in here. They don't understand why they're being ignored. They don't understand why they don't have where they're not considered to have integrity any longer, why the public doesn't trust them anymore. They just can't help themselves. It's amazing. Let's see. Pavlovsky's once obscure video streaming site received a cash infusion from a cadre of conservative investors, including J.D. Vance, now Trump's running mate. Created as a YouTube alternative 8 years earlier, Rumble had recently gained traction with right-wing users chafing against the guardrails erected by major social media services during the coronavirus pandemic. There's another way of saying that. Saying guardrails. There's another way. Some people see it not so much as guardrails as blatant censorship of dissent. Blatantly censoring dissent to preserve a narrative, an approved narrative. Some people think that. Some people say that. A lot of people say that. I think that myself. A lot of people say that. I say it too. They are so they're so corrupt. So insanely corrupt, and they don't care who knows it. They just assume that enough of their audience is stupid enough to just buy all of their bullshit and never wake up. To some extent, they're right, but not enough for them to make any money. When's this one from? October 31st, 2022. The New York Times has been after Rumble before. Company backed by J.D. Vance gives platform for Russian propaganda. An interview of captive Americans done under duress appears on a web platform backed by J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel. So, I mean, that New York Times would obviously be against people saying something that went against their narrative, right? That might make them question the official government narrative. Let's see. They have something here. Rumble has become a leading destination for conservative content by positioning itself as a platform for unfettered speech. Ooh, that's terrifying. An alternative to the content moderation or censorship, as they say. Censorship. It's just content moderation. Too many on the right of mainstream social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. So this would be right before Elon took over. So if this had been a day after Elon bought it, they would have called it far right Twitter or conspiracy theory Twitter. But it wasn't yet, I guess. So, but Rumble has become a leading destination for conservative content by positioning itself as a platform for unfettered speech. So how about this? Conservatives don't get censored on Rumble. Rumble is a platform for free speech where nobody gets censored for legal speech. They could just say that, right? That could be their framing right there. Just neutral. An alternative to the content moderation or censorship. Sure, censorship. It's really just content moderation. It's really just being responsible by not allowing things that the New York Times disagrees with. It's just, it's unbelievable. They could just say, Rumble doesn't censor legal speech. So conservatives who have been censored for legal speech are moving there. You could say that. That's good. That's actually good framing. That's what an objective journalist would do. I'm starting to think that these people are just psychopaths, to be honest with you. You know? They're just psychopaths. I mean, how could you just lie and lie and lie and lie and lie and persecute and persecute and persecute and just never have a moment, never have a come to Jesus moment, never just keep going. Keep going. Just keep that revolution going. All right, let's see what you guys saying. Let's see. Medusa's fashionably late yet again. That's okay. We're cool, man. You're cool. Don't worry about it. You're cool, bro. Let's see. I'm going to scooch back a little bit in the comments here. Let's hold on. Man, you guys are busy in the chat tonight. Let's see. Radio streamer says, "Why do you think Kamala kept talking about being unburdened by what has been?" Well, that's just That's just Marxism, by history and societal norms of a modern Western culture. Yeah, yeah. It's her parents were communists, right? Communist professors. Let's see. All right, hold on. Okay, I think I'm getting to the right place in the chat here. Let's see. Apparently I need the equivalent to a bat phone or a baloney phone. Just a spare $100 smartphone. Actually, it's not a terrible idea. Get like a burner phone. Let's see. Izzy says the New York Times is authoritative. They only publish official information from the Ministry of Truthiness. Yeah, that's about right. Let's see. Rosie says, brilliant, a baloney phone. I'm seriously thinking about this baloney phone now. Let's see. But I mean, I do have the X account, and that's actually I don't have to buy a new phone for that. So, yeah, I think we're just gonna stick with the X. I think that's pretty convenient. It works for Rosie. She always gets some stuff on the stream. Unless I forget to check my messages, but I don't forget too often. All right. What are we? We're an hour in. So you know what? I think it is time right now to cut YouTube loose. Unfortunately, it's something we have to do because of YouTube censorship. If I just do the whole stream on YouTube, I end up with like 500 bullshit copyright thing. It just ends up becoming like a major pain for me. So if I just do an hour and I'm careful what I put on the first hour, it seems to work. It doesn't become a major hassle for me afterwards. And of course, you always have to worry about the censorship over on YouTube, right? Just the outright censorship. So we do the first hour. We give you a taste. The first bit's free, right? We give you a taste on YouTube, first hour. And then we cut off the YouTube portion and we continue. We plow ahead. We keep going. We keep the party going on Rumble for God knows how long. Hours. At least another like 3 hours probably tonight. Maybe more. Sometimes we go for like another 4 hours, 4.5 hours. So God knows how long we'll be going. And if you don't come over, there's all kinds of wonderful things you're going to miss. And with Christmas so close, I mean, I don't know. Would you want to take that chance? But in any case, join us over on Rumble. It's so easy. They've got apps on everything, like all the Fire Stick and the Apple TV and the Roku, and then everywhere on the smart TVs. Just get the Rumble app. Then you just scoot over, and it's just there, and everybody's happy, especially me. All right. But anyway, so that's it. I'm afraid we have to get off Stalin Tube right now. So hope you join us over on Rumble. If not, we'll see you Sunday night. Ah.